What's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today. And today, this morning, the New York Jets, after making a huge trade last week for superstar quarterback Aaron Rodgers, signed their new quarterback's former Green Bay Packers teammate, Randall, Cobb, wide receiver, after, Aaron Rodgers made it clear to them that he had a wish list, and his wish list had about 4 players on that wish list that he wanted to be signed. Most of those players were players that he played with in Green Bay, and he got one of those wishes with Randall Cobb today as the New York Jets signed Randall Cobb, who had a decent year with the Packers last year, had a couple injuries, but he's been with Rodgers in the past for how long? I mean, they spent a couple years apart because I think Cobb spent a year with the Cowboys and spent a year with my Houston Texans as well, and then we traded him back to the Packers in the beginning of 2021 season. So he got to spend the last couple years with Rodgers. So he got to spend he got to be with Rodgers in Rodgers' last 2 years in Green Bay. But he was there for the good times, I think at least from like 2012 to, I think the area was around 2011 to 2017, 2018 that he was with Green Bay with Rodgers, and it was just a great wide receiver. They had great chemistry and good friends as well, and I think that it's great that Rodgers wanted to be teamed up with his former teammate again. Cobb's a great slot wide receiver, and it just adds into more depth for the New York Jets at that wide receiver position. Not only do they have this superstar, I know he's not really considered as a superstar yet, but I think this kid, Garrett Wilson, is going to go to the next level for the New York Jets next season. I think he's going to have he's going to be one of the biggest breakouts next year in the whole league. And Rodgers was talking about it this week about how he sees a lot of Garrett Wilson similarities, and he sees a lot of Devontae Adams in Garrett Wilson, and I kind of see it too. I think he's a hell of a talent with Rodgers throwing him the ball compared to who was throwing him the ball last year. Garrett Wilson's gonna have an amazing season. Then I was talking about how he got some of his wish lists. He's gonna be also, his number 2 is gonna be Allen Lazard. Allen Lazard is a stud wide receiver who has great chemistry with Aaron Rodgers and will have probably a really good season with the New York Jets. Then they also signed Mecole Hardman from the Kansas City Chiefs. Not only a good wide receiver, but a good kick returner, also a good runner. If they decide to run a jet sweep or anything, he can do it all for you. And Mecole Hardman, if he's healthy, which is the big thing with him, had a lot of health issues in 2022. If he's healthy, it just adds another weapon for the New York Jets. And I know he might get cut, but they also have Corey Davis, a guy who last year, before all these new guys in, like Mecole Hardman and Allen Lazard, he was their number 2. He's a decent wide receiver. I think he's gonna lose a lot of playing time, and if he stays on the Jets, I think there is a possible chance that you could see Corey Davis cut or traded to a team who kind of desperately needs a wide receiver. I think there is a decent chance that could happen. But if Corey Davis stays on the New York Jets, he's a hell of a wide receiver as a wide receiver 4. And then you got Aaron Rodgers' buddy, Randall Cobb, at the wide receiver 5. And I can't not bring up that I wouldn't be surprised if pretty soon you see the New York Jets sign Mercedes Lewis, tight end that played with the Packers. Because Aaron Rodgers had 4 wish lists. 4 things he wanted to play with the Jets. He wanted Randall Cobb to come with him. He got that. Randall Cobb is now signed with the Jets. He wanted Allen Lazard, who played with him in Green Bay. He got Allen Lazard. He wanted Odell Beckham Jr., who signed with the Ravens. So he didn't get Odell. He wanted most of the time he was his backup tight end, but sometimes when Robert Tonyan for the Packers last year was hurt, he was his number 1, the tight end, Mercedes Lewis. He wanted Mercedes Lewis. So I wouldn't be surprised if pretty soon you might see the New York Jets sign Mercedes Lewis in free agency. this post draft free agency. Hey, post draft free agency is it's been little. It's some stuff has been happening since the draft, and that's to be expected. A lot of free agents do wait to sign with teams until the draft is over, and I wouldn't be surprised if Cobb waited. I wouldn't be surprised if Mercedes Lewis in the next couple of weeks or in that area is a New York Jet as well. If Aaron Rodgers really wants to play with Mercedes Lewis again. But as of for Randall Cobb, I think this is a great move for the Jets. Like I said, Rodgers and Cobb have a lot of chemistry, and I think he's just another great weapon for Rodgers. Rodgers has 5 really good weapons coming in, and that doesn't even include his running backs and tight ends. I mean, the tight ends he has CJ Umuza. I might have said that wrong, and then has another tight end. I can't remember his name. I think he was with the Vikings, and then Tyler Conklin, I think. Yeah, Tyler Conklin and CJ Umuza. And then the running backs, they have Michael Carter and Breece Hall. Breece Hall had an amazing season until before Breece Hall got injured. I mean, he could have won Rookie of the Year. Offensive Rookie. He could have won Offensive Rookie of the Year if he played the whole year. That's how good he was until he tore his ACL. So Hall and Michael Carter as the running backs, and then decent tight ends with CJ Umuza and Tyler Conklin. Rodgers has 2 solid tight ends with maybe another one coming in with Mercedes Lewis. Has 5 really good wide receivers and 2 really good running backs. This offense is stacked, and kind of a boosted offensive line since the draft. They worked on the offensive line a little bit in the draft, so I don't know. The Jets looking like a hell of a team next year. I personally think the New York Jets will win the AFC East. I think it's a little too early to predict on that, but what I will say is a lot of people saying that the Jets are going to be the 2023. In 2023, the Jets are going to be like the Broncos of last year. I can guarantee that will not happen. Aaron Rodgers, yes, he had a little bit of a bad 2022 season, but you got to remember he had a bad shoulder, a bad thumb, and his wide receiver core was a little bit stinky. His wide receiver, Christian Watson was great at the end of the season, but not in the beginning of the season. Christian Watson heated up at the end of the year when it was a little too late. Allen Lazard was solid, but not at all times. And I can't really tell you anybody else who was that great for the Packers on the wide receiver core. So, as a hurt quarterback, as a 39-year-old who has a broken thumb and a bad shoulder that I think is all healthy now, led them to an 8-9 record. I think that is pretty solid for a quarterback who didn't have a great wide receiver core all season, had basically a broken thumb and a bad shoulder, and they still had an 8-9 record. So Rodgers with healthy and good wide receivers, good running backs, good tight ends, I think it's way different from Rodgers. Also, yes, I know the Broncos had a good defense last year, but not as good as I think the Jets' defense is gonna be this year. I think the Jets' defense is gonna be amazing. Last year, the Jets' defense was really good, but the offense didn't have anything to show for it. And now the offense does have something to show for it, while the defense, you put that offense and that defense together, it's gonna be really good. I don't see them being like the 2022 Broncos, but as of right now, unless the Bills trade for DeAndre Hopkins, which it could very well happen, I think the New York Jets will win the AFC East. But we shall see. I think the Bills. I think for me personally, I think it would take Hopkins going to the Bills, for me to have them, winning the division. But I think the Jets, I think they're the real deal. And, I could be, way off. I could be wrong, but I believe in the New York Jets. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoy them or thoughts, and peace out.